Well, today's another day of working on the frame. I still haven't come up with an idea. I mean, I got a couple ideas of how I want to mount it, but I'm not sure. But I was thinking about this last night. Regardless of how I mount the rear spring, I need to get the frame tacked and leveled and squared up. All right. So what I did, first off, I measured both rails. They're exactly 10 feet. I put my angle finder, you can see here. I know it's hard to see with the camera, but that's 0, it's level. And then both frame rails are at a up, like 1.3 degrees up on both. I shimmed them to get them exactly to match. And then what I did, I don't know, I'm gonna try to do this holding the camera. I squared the frame up with the back corner right there of the frame up to this mark you can see here. I'm 21 7/8. All right. Then I went over here to this side. Hook it on there at the end of the frame. And to the same mark on this side, 21 7/8. So now the frame is squared up with the front, and both rails are at the same angle. The pipe in the front is not touching here. You can see here it's moving. It's sitting on jack stands. So I'm going to go ahead now, tack in the front and hold it, and then you can see in the back. I also went and put a bar across the back, clamped it in to hold the outside dimension of 36 inches, was what I want the back of the frame to be. So now everything's squared up, level. We'll go ahead and tack in the front. Well, I got that tacked. I'm gonna go take the tape measure. I want to check it, make sure it's still square, make sure nothing moved. Shouldn't have moved, but I just want to check it. I'll take that clamp off, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cut a piece for the back to tack weld in something inside the frame just to hold it, the spacing on it and the angles. Well, I went and found a piece of 1.5 inch black pipe laying outside next to my shop. So I cut it. I'm gonna go ahead and tack weld it in there, and then I can take this bar off, and then I know my dimensions for the angles for the frame won't change. Well, I might have to fast forward some of it. I keep forgetting to shut the radio off when I video. I was looking at my tacks. I was wondering why it looks so horrible. And then I realized I didn't turn the gas on. But they're just temporary anyway until I get the back mounted. We'll set the front and the back. Actually, I could probably do the front now. I just got to set the kingpin angle and get that tacked on. All right, well, let me get back to work. This week, like I said, we're going to get the spring mounted. I've been giving it a lot of thought. Basically, I'm going to run 2 pieces of angle iron. one behind the spring and one in front of the spring. Make a new plate to perch to go between the two angle irons. And I want the angle iron to face up on the flat side because I want to put a fake floor in here. So when you open the back hatch, it'll look perfectly flat right to the end, but then you can pick up the carpeting and take out the screws and then take the panels out. I'm planning on putting the fuel tank, the battery, and the electrical panel. Everything's going to be mounted underneath this fake floor. And then, of course, the sides of the body are going to come down past the frame so you won't see nothing from the side either. Well, I went this morning to Wilkes Metal, picked up some more metal. Got this piece of 5x3/8 you see here on the floor. I'm going to make all the mounts for the radius rods to go on the rear end and mount to the frame for the front, back. And I already got the angle set up here to cut for the back. So let me move the camera, get it set up, and go ahead and cut this quick. We got to get two pieces, and then I'm going to go over there and cut the new perch mount. Well, that thing cuts pretty good. Usually it leaves, you can see the slag on the back side, but normally, I don't know, I say that, normally. Yeah, look how easy that comes off. It's amazing. That thing cuts beautiful. That's about the limit to this machine. It's only a 55 amp cutter, but boy, it cuts pretty good. I was running at about 60 pounds of air. I probably could have turned the air up a little higher. Might have cut better, but anyway, got through it. Well, we did pretty good. I mean, considering I drilled the holes just half-inch, and those are half-inch bolts that lined up with the other plate, all the bolts went in. I didn't have to open up any of them. Got lucky there. Well, next thing you know, I gotta get this between them angle irons and see if we can get everything squared up over there. Well, worked out good, except I forgot to open up the center hole for the bolt that goes through the leaf spring. So I'm gonna have to take it back over there and drill it, probably like a maybe 9/16 or something. See how that is. But you kind of get an idea how it's gonna look. This plate here will be low. Right now it's sitting on top of the bolt, so it'll go down. So the heads of the bolt will be below here. And then, like I said, I can bolt the floor down to this. Putting the one in the back, I had to move the rear a little bit forward to keep this in line with the frame rails. So I don't know if you could see on the ground my chalk mark. I was at 114 inches. I'm probably about 112, maybe 2 inches. I had to move it forward to get that, to put the brace in the back and in the front. But that's not going to be a problem. Like I said, we got plenty of room to play around. I'm still going to extend the back of the body itself, probably at least another foot, maybe more, off the back. So the body's not going to end right there. Well, let me get that plate off, get it drilled, and we'll keep moving. Well, I went ahead and drilled that hole out in the center, big enough for the pilot bolt. You can see right here. And I also went ahead and bolted it together temporary for now, just to compress the spring so that I can align this to get it tack welded. The way I got it now is I measure from here. Well, you can see the angle finder first. 0.1, it depends. Every time you move it, it's 1.1 or 0.02, whatever. That's close enough. So I went ahead and measured from the outside of the frame rail to the center, and it was 17.5 inches. And from that side to the center was 17.5 inches. So I know I'm centered left and right. I know that this plate here, I put the angle finder here, 1/10 of a percent, 0.1 on here, and it's 0.2 over here. So I'm not going to mess with that anymore. I also went and took a tape measure and measured from the front of the rim up to where the magnets are. I don't know if you can see them in the video, but that's where I used to square the corners of the frame to get the frame square. And it was exactly 102 to this side and 102 on the left side. So the rear right now is squared up with the front end. And I also measured from the rim over to the frame was 6 1/4, and on this side it was 6 1/4. So the rims are centered on the frame. So it's looking good. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go get my welder set up, and we're going to put some really good tacks on here. And I want to tack this side here and here. And I want to take the shims out of the bottom, take the jack stands off, and let it sit on its own weight and see how much the spring compresses. I'm a little concerned. It's a used spring, and somebody took out a leaf, one of the leaves that had already been taken out, I guess, to soften it up even more. So I'm curious how much it's going to compress. And we'll see how much it goes down. If it goes down too much, I might have to change my design to put more angle in the frame, rake in the frame. So I don't want it to be level when the weight is on it, when the car is built. And trying to guess the weight of something, it's just guessing. I mean, how heavy it's going to be. If I have to, what I'll do is I'll probably pick up that steel table. I have an overhead lift in my shop. I could pick up that table. Plus, I'll put another 300-400 pounds on top of the table and set it down on the car and see how it reacts to the weight before I go ahead and weld everything permanent. Well, let me get the welder. I'm going to get this tacked up, and we'll go from there. Well, now I got the back tacked in. I think next thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and center the front axle, and where I made that extended mount in the front, the perch, I don't have it tacked to the frame yet, so I wanna go ahead and get that centered up and squared up with the car, and we'll tack it in and we'll see how it goes from there. Well, next thing I wanna do is put the bolts on to mount the front leaf spring. I don't have it welded yet to the frame. This piece here is not, it's just sitting here right now. So I want to go ahead and get the plate on the bottom, get it compressed, and then I need to go set the kingpin angle, get a rough setting on that, and then I want to go ahead and tack in these braces here for the front. Well, I've been sitting here for a couple minutes and double checking, triple checking. I think I got everything now. So as you can see here, the frame is sitting level. I centered it from left to right, so the spring is exactly in the center. I double checked it with the wheel dimensions from the wheel to the frame, and it's the same on both sides. And I also checked it front to back, from the rim in the front and rim in the back on this side and both sides. So they're squared, both axles are squared up with each other right now. And the most important thing is the way it's sitting right now. I still got shims under here in the back. I got a 4-degree rake in the kingpin's back. They call for 6 degrees. That's where I ran the last car I built at 6, and I had no trouble with it. But I think what I'm gonna do now on this one is tack this perch on where it is now. So that's got 4 degrees built into the perch. And then when I put the radius rods on, I'll only have to twist the springs and the shackles 2 degrees to get 6, instead of trying to get this level and then twisting the axle to get the whole 6 degrees. I think that's the way to go with it, or that's what I'm gonna try to do with it. So anyway, let me get the welder. We'll put some welds on here. And then after I get it welded, I'm going to take out all the jack stands, all the shims and everything, and see how it just sits on its own. I'm gonna go ahead and take out all the jack stands and supports, and we'll see where it sits on its own. Well, I got it down on the ground. It's sitting on the rims right now. The front looks really good. I'm really happy with it. I push down on it, barely moves. Still got my good angle on it, everything. So I do got a block of wood in the back where the radius rod connects to stop it from twisting too far back. I might be able to take it out. Let me try taking it out. We'll see what happens. Okay, I took out the block of wood. You can see there's enough play in the shackles and the springs. And remember, I had it at 4 degrees. Now that this dropped down, I might be over 6 degrees. So I got to get my my angle finder and check it, but it doesn't matter. It's centered, it's square with the frame. When I put the radius rods on, we'll go ahead and set the angle for the kingpins. I was a little worried about the back. it went down over an inch, and pushing on it, it seems to be very soft. We'll see. Here's what it is. I want to get my angle finder, recheck the angles of the frame rails. I mean, it looks like I got quite a bit of slope in it, but I don't know if you can tell from here, but if I get down here, as long as I got 2 degrees or so rake in the frame, I'd be happy. Otherwise, I could shim it up now in the back too if I needed to raise the frame a little bit. Well, let me get the angle finder and see where all the angles are the way it's sitting now. Well, we're looking good. I'm zeroed out across the back. I got 1.8 up in the back on the frame rails. It was 2. I lost 0.2 of a degree, which ain't bad. I'm still zeroed out on the front, the cross member. But we did, without the wood under there, the spacing for the radius rods, it went to 7 degrees tilted back, which is more than what I wanted. So like I said, you can see here, you can easily change this angle with the radius rods. There's that much play in it, you know. So that'll be no problem. And another thing, it went, the more weight you put on the back, the more the weight it's set up, it, it tilts the pumpkin up, you see. Well, right now it's 7 degrees up on the pinion, which is way too much. But again, the radius rods, when I get those made, we can take that out, get it down to about 3 degrees or so. That should be no trouble at all. Other than that, it looks good. Next thing I have to do is order the radius rods for it. I think I'm going to order the back. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to run 4-bar in the front, and then I'm going to buy the back set. And also today I wanted to show you, I ordered a transmission mounting adapter kit to go from a Power Glide to that 6-cylinder 235 stove bolt motor. And there was on eBay, I found this company. Here's their name. It's performanceadapters.com. And at first I was a little skeptical. I didn't know about how good the quality was or nothing like that. They hadn't sold that many of them. It's a little expensive, but I got it today. And as you can see, it's nice. I mean, check out this machining on this thing. It came with the adapter plate, it came with a starter, it came with a flywheel, and it came with the bolt kit to bolt it all together. And I guess maybe some instructions, I hope. But the only thing I'm missing is a torque converter, and they say this will bolt up to a standard 10 and 3/4 inch, I guess it is, torque converter, stock Chevy converter. So hopefully here soon I'll get the radius rods in the front and the back, and then I'm going to bolt that transmission up to the engine. We'll put this kit on, and I got the mock-up transmission laying here. And that way I can go ahead and do the motor mounts and do the transmission mounts. And once I get those all tacked in, I'm going to disassemble the whole thing and then just go weld everything that needs to be welded at one time. Just go weld everything. So that's the plan. Well, again, I want to keep it short. We'll end this one here. I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate the comments. Any questions, suggestions, always welcome. And if not, I'll see you in the next video.